It's like they're addictive, but they're gorgeous. They're a part of our lives every day. We play them, we watch them, we watch people watching them, we watch people playing them. Are they art? Are they just fun? We can't stop, folks. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about video games.
So I'm Dan.
And I'm Nick, folks.
We're old friends dissecting one topic at a time. People, technology, media, we've got it all covered.
Each discussion here is a deep dive into our unique perspective. Taboo, forbidden subjects, they're all on the chopping block, baby. We don't pander to popular opinion. We might even get a little bit dirty.
Warning, this podcast may contain mature language and sexual
Is the intro still
content.
playing?
It is for infotainment purposes only.
So join us. I know it was. Time.
Open up your ear holes, because we're going to fondle your follicles.
Hum.
Alright, so it's Dan here.
Hey, and I'm Nick. What's going on, folks?
Oh my goodness.
Welcome to our episode tonight. You look disheveled.
Yeah, I've been rummaging through trash piles trying to find my freedom. I don't know if it's there, but
You found
I
it
have
for
a
8
lot of
more
hope.
days, I'd say.
hope is the best of things, maybe the greatest.
That's from a video game.
Yeah.
Did they
Maybe
make
if they
Shawshank?
Shawshank,
No, they did.
it should be. That's what I was expecting. What was that?
Yeah, the way out, a way out.
Way Out. Yeah, I was expecting
Yeah,
that to
the
be
rough
how like you have to pass notes through rats
It
that
was
crawl on the.
It was too
in the
like really just completing a simple task, but you needed 2 people to do it. And I guess
Yeah.
because the game relied on internet friendship, which never works out, that they made it as simple and as straightforward as could be. It was too boring.
It's
The
like
multiplayer part.
it's like if you went to take a shit and your pants were too loose, so you had to hold up your pants with your left hand, and then your friend had to wipe your ass with your right hand.
yeah. It's kind of what it was like.
Yeah.
It would have been cooler if it was like super elaborate and you had to get plans and like
Yeah.
mess with the
multiple
guard
ways
and
out.
someone else does something. Yeah, that would have been cool.
We'll make
Or
a game
just
called
like
Ways Out.
and it's really just 2 guys in a car and they're using Waze.
Avoiding traffic.
Yep, that would be good. I'd watch that. I'd pay to see that.
Oh.
So we're here to talk about video games, right? Like,
Yeah.
you would think there are entire podcasts. I actually am a guest on a show where that's all he does is video games. It's getting old. Like, you're gonna run out of material, dude. What the farticom? You're over. It's done. You ran your course. But it's surprising to me. I don't think we've done many episodes on games.
I think we purposely try to avoid it because there's so many podcasts out there that cover video games. There's so many.
Yeah, there are. Could you name one?
Probably not. No. What's that? Like Yahtzee? You know Yahtzee? Crenshaw? Ben Crenshaw? He does that. The one. Oh my goodness. Forgetting the name of the thing.
Oh, I was just curious.
He does
like,
quick
do you follow
reviews.
with you?
I don't really listen to. I don't like people talking about video games. It's one of those weird things about like.
It's
an
fine.
art
I mean, some
form.
people do, some don't.
I get
Yeah.
people like talk about paintings. It's like, okay, maybe a couple sentences and I'm good.
You have to experience it yourself.
Yeah. It's,
Makes sense. What's weird is I like talking about it after I've experienced it, though. Like, I wouldn't listen to anyone talk about a video game or art like before I saw it or played it, but afterwards I could talk about them for a while.
Yeah.
Is that weird?
like, well, movies and stuff. I like people who analyze it the same way. It's just no one ever analyzes it the same way as I do. So it's like really frustrating to talk to somebody that does not equate to anything.
No, that makes sense.
Ben Yahtzee Croshaw. I added an N. 0 punctuation. You've heard 0 punctuation before, obviously, right? What? Oh, you definitely need to. That's the reviews are quite amazing, and he rips on how shitty certain games are very well.
Oh no. Well, I don't do a lot of game reviews. I got out of the game reviews right around when Game Pro stopped being a thing.
Yeah,
If you're old enough to
Nintendo
know what
Power,
that is.
IGN.
No, after Nintendo Power, let's move it a little bit with Game Pro, and then there was probably something after that for Game Informer or someone? Was there a PlayStation specific one?
Game Informer, I remember that one. When did it ended in 2011?
Oh, well, these things probably kept going while I stopped, but
the magazine and the website ended at the same time. That's weird.
That's kind of cool. It must be in a let's cut bait, and everyone's going to different companies, and some of you are fired, and some of us are selling off the stock. I don't know.
We're millionaires, and you're poor. So goodbye.
So what's? Did you happen to, in your extensive research for this episode tonight, did you happen to look up the definition on Wikipedia for the word video game?
Did I ever?
Oh, I can't wait to hear it.
Wow.
It's funny. It sounds like typing, but I know you're just clearing your keyboard to get to those notes you furiously scribbled by hand.
Yes.
Dust off the paper there. Let's see what you got. Because I did a little research. I didn't do this definition.
This definition is cringeworthy because it doesn't know how to define it.
Really?
A video game is an electronic game that involves interaction with a user interface to generate visual feedback on a 2- or 3-dimensional video display device, such as a TV screen, virtual reality headset, or computer monitor.
Huh. That's actually about as good as you can get because video games are so varied.
Yeah, as generic as you can get.
Yeah. Well, it has to be to encompass the umbrella of video games. All encompassing. Interesting. So a video game is like just something that gives you visual feedback and you move a thing.
React to it. So I guess there's a distinction there between our parents who would watch a movie and then tell us to stop playing video games. But there's so many people that I think there's a split, there's a divide there. Where watching a movie.
Please do. Go here. This is girlfriend material. We could have done this on what girlfriends think of guys who play video games. Go ahead.
For me, watching a movie is less interactive than playing a video game, and a video game can contain so many more volumes of information and be so much more interactive that it's surprising that movies are even considered in the same realm, or considered to be more interactive by some people.
I agree with you a bajillion%, dude.
Oh.
In fact, I used to get into fights with girlfriends past. Any guy will tell you this. They're like, oh, you're just going to sit around and play video games?
Yep.
We could be watching Netflix. It's like, hold up. At least the person playing video games is interacting, thinking. They control the flow of the storyline. They're hitting buttons. I mean, it's as lazy as they're as lazy as it sounds.
Yeah.
Right. And it's incredibly lazy. I'm not claiming it's whatever, but physically you're doing what, 0.1% more
Look
work?
At this thumb. Look at this thumb. It took years of video game playing to get it this beefy, and also masturbation. But
thumb?
Yeah, the thumb. You never do that fat part of the thumb? You do that flex? Can you do that? It's
yeah, I guess so.
It's the right hand.
I guess.
Are you left-handed?
Ambidextrous, baby.
Stranger. I get it.
The stranger. Oh, I love a good stranger.
Yeah. Anyway.
So
it went from G to excessive.
G to PG-13.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're PG-13 now.
Yeah, but video games are way more interactive, way more mentally taxing. You're actually doing something when you're playing, which is
you're controlling the story, which is you're making. It's it's a movie that you're working on or creating, sort of.
Yeah. And honestly, a lot of my vocabulary came from playing EverQuest. EverQuest had a whole bunch of different adjectives for things. And I didn't.
That sounds like something a virgin would say.
When you're 13, most of us are always. Wait, how old were you when you lost your?
I'm not getting into it. Never mind. No, but that's interesting.
I was 13 at the time. So.
And I guess I started learning some science and math from Math Blaster and Quirky Quaso's Turbo Science or something like that. I think that's what it's called.
That's funky.
You might not have played that one. It's just Sierra made it. That's weird. I know that too.
Well, Sierra was a big one. Publisher? Game developer?
Company? I'm not sure. Yeah, but it is
I assume that the publishers and the developers are the same, but who knows?
Someone's got the money and someone's got the game development background.
So
interesting.
Distribution versus development.
Right. What was Sierra now? Whoa.
I'm looking. Where's the game?
I'm just curious because I I didn't care about that stuff as a kid. I literally would ignore the name of whatever company was being flashed before any movie, game, or product. I just wanted the product. I didn't care who made it. I didn't recognize. I mean, I guess I recognized some of the names, some of the movie intros, logos. I guess that's marketing back in the day,
I don't
folks.
know. It was so new that like I love like Wild West
Yeah,
scenarios because that like everything goes. Like even if it's super shitty, it still survives and like there's always like a little niche.
super shitty or shady.
Yeah. The apparently Sierra became part of Activision Blizzard.
Ah, that's a tiny little company like that, huh?
Yeah. Huh. So they must have, yeah,
Interesting.
video game developer and publisher. That's the first sentence.
That's good. The I wonder. Well, what's like the first impact game on your life? Because like I feel like it's made fun of, but video games kind of they become art or like storyline drivers. Like it's like a really good book. You can equate a video game to a really good book. It sounds ridiculous, but
Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
I'm thinking the first ones I played, are obviously Mario.
Like the Mario, that didn't change
It's
your
not
life
yeah.
storyline wise.
No.
I'm talking like something that
Dr.
either
Mario,
had
maybe.
shocked you, Doctor. Yeah, I was really
Addicted to
shocked when
pills.
Doctor Mario. Yeah. No,
Probably
it's the first
Zelda.
game that like okay.
Zelda was enough depth to make it so
Hmm.
that like it was a
There was
challenge.
lore,
Yeah, and there's lore and there's a world attached to it, and it
and you
was
you worked so hard to get something. Maybe
yeah,
I don't know.
and it was punishing. That and like Battletoads Double Dragon, it's like
That was a good one.
learning defeat because no one's ever beaten that game except your
The
one friend in back when you were little. I feel like you told me the story.
oh no, there's a guy Brian Garr. He's a famous comedian.
Yeah,
He live streamed himself beating it, and it took him like years of training just to do it on a game that no
beating
one
the
plays
game.
anymore. To do, yeah. Um, do you know what it was? It's the jetpack level where you get on
Oh
your
my god.
jet ski and it goes super fast, and then you got to jump over
Yeah,
some
and
left, and right over others.
you can't do it
Oh,
by
at
visual.
some point.
No.
Oh my God, no! You have to memorize it at some point because it just starts coming in waves, and you're
Yeah.
flying around. You just hit one thing and you're dead. So
Yes. It's insane.
yeah.
It is brutal, and that teaches you something about the way the world really works. You fucking assholes.
Well, how about the games like the arcade games that were all the same, like the X-Men game, the Simpsons game,
Oh yeah, yeah.
the Turtles
It's
in
like a
Time game?
paperboy kind of like going down the street game.
Yeah, yeah. You go down the street and you fight, and you have so much health, and you beat people up, and you have a special attack and a jump usually.
Mhm.
What's crazy is all those games, they they taught you something. Like you would bond with strangers, and like you'd be like, "I'm out of quarters. Oh no, I'm out of quarters." Someone would either lend you a
Like real
quarter, or you'd have
life,
to go
yeah.
find your mom or something, when like you'd be coming back, and you'd meet with the same guys, and you could beat that game if you consistently played and dropped like $14 into that dumb son of a bitch.
See, I was secretly waiting for you to die in the corner because I wanted everyone to stop playing so that I could play alone. I was that kid.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You were wearing a hoodie and it was just covered up,
Yeah.
and you were like, "I like the dark."
I love the dark.
The
12-year-old.
I knew you could just say it like that. Yeah.
The Matrix. Welcome to the
The
Matrix.
dark, like my soul.
But those
Interesting.
games, yeah, they could literally be the same game but skinned differently, which didn't
Yeah.
I don't believe happened, but maybe it did. Who knows?
Maybe it did, dude. I'm telling you, because you remember the Simpsons one?
It's very
It was very
similar.
popular, but it was very similar. Just
Yeah.
maybe a different skin. It was probably the Turtles game with a different skin.
Yeah. Yeah. The Turtles game. Harlow. Good memories. Good memories.
But moving
Influencer.
forward, games started doing something weird where they became graphically better. You know, the Segas and the Super Nintendos.
Yeah.
I feel like Donkey Kong Country had some kind of character to it because it was like you could
They
go to levels, you're freeing people. There's something more to that one than just
There's
straight
something
up
you can
arcade.
feel in your body when you're playing that game that it's like it's a level of addictive that's very strange. Like
Uh-huh.
when you're playing it, you're no longer like in the real world. Like you are somehow inside of the world they created.
Art design becomes important. I
Yeah.
guess I've never thought about that till right now, but art design, like that's definitely a unique design that wasn't done before. It looked more 3D, like it looked better than it
Yeah.
really
I
was,
think they had a
and
couple layers. Like you had like
could be.
the foreground, the background, and then like the midground. and then that was like
Yeah, I think so.
it just fucks with your mind. As a
Hmm.
It's been like 10 years old when I played that.
I don't know. That's interesting. I wish we had done some more research. No.
Huh.
The but these games, there's like another step. I used to play, and it probably because I wanted to be a dolphin in grade school, but like Echo the
1994.
Dolphin.
10. I was 10.
Yeah, good call. Wow,
Oh, go country.
good eye. But like Echo the Dolphin and stuff like that. Like I actually felt sad when he was talking to the other dolphins and like they weren't at home, and there was that game had music that was like symphony done music and
Isn't
stuff.
that kind of like open world? You just swim around
Yeah, and
and
you would find other dolphins and they were trapped and there was someone in time and like it always made my heart feel really like open and sad in a weird way, like not a happy sad, like a
what's like
the world is
abysmal?
never right.
Yeah,
Yeah, like the world will never
it
be
doesn't
perfect.
feel
There's always
good.
going to be fucked up stuff. And that's just life. And I think I got that from a video game about dolphins. Like, if anyone told you that that happened to me, they'd be like, "Yeah, that sounds about right for him." But
Echo
most
the
people,
Dolphin's
that's
gonna like come to your work and say, "This is how it was not. This is how it
are
is."
you fucking kidding me? I can't feed my kids. I don't know.
Sorry, Echo, but your time here is
Yeah,
over.
your time here's over. You've been terminated.
Yeah, and you just like dump him into a shredder and then feast on
Into
his
into
insides.
a tuna boat, and it's just not safe.
Yeah.
Not dolphin safe tuna.
Oh,
Good joke there.
just toss him into a net. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
The
I'm trapped, and he's like,
and then
poor guy.
maybe the first game that had like made me shocked or something was like Metal Gear Solid. I don't know.
Silent
I
Hill,
feel like it's
maybe
pretty big. Ooh, Silent Hill was nuts.
they fuck with you intentionally with the volume and like static.
The
It's a meta game.
yeah, that game was fucked up, and I'll tell you why. It's about a guy and his daughter. Like he's a divorced dad, and his daughter Cheryl. I don't even remember his name. I just remember he's always saying Cheryl. And you go to this town, and there's
Oh,
weird fog everywhere. You can't see anything. Which, by the way, was not because they thought it would be creepy. It's because they didn't want to put all the money into the graphics.
yeah.
They like literally were like, let's not make the draw ratio too far out. The draw distances will be like 8 feet in front of your character, which cut back on their usage of like RAM or whatever. I don't know, but
Yeah, you don't have to. Yeah, it
yeah,
makes it plausible because the video game requires
yes,
more than you
yes.
can do.
So in this game, your daughter disappears, and the whole town you're in, you hear
Render
a
distance.
really loud siren.
Hmm.
What?
Render distance.
Oh,
That's what
render
it's
distance.
called.
Thank you. Yes. But you would hear a loud siren go off, and then the world would turn into hell world, and your character was like, "Huh, my daughter is missing," and you had to look for your daughter, and that's probably the scariest thing in the world because
It's a fucked
if a
up thing.
world turned into hell world, there's no way in hell I'm staying and saving her. No way.
Ditching your
Unless,
daughter.
well, unless it's my goddamn like 6-year-old daughter. It's like the only
The
thing that could
most
get you to stay
innocent
at that
thing.
place.
That's like Bioshock using
The little girl,
the little girl.
Daddy's
What the
no,
Big Daddies
what's her
and
name?
what are the little girls
Big
called?
Daddy's and um,
Little Sisters.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Bioshock. That's one of the ones where have you played that through?
I didn't beat it.
Did you get into it
I
though?
I just yeah, I'm like probably 2 hours in.
Like the so you can
Welcome to the
comment.
circus of values. Like there's such it's a weird old school future vibe. I do dig that kind of stuff. It's like old school, but it's also futuristic, but it's also
Playing
like
like a
steampunk.
ragdoll
It's like
theme while you're like blasting away splicers. Oh,
yeah, there's something it's unique. I do
love
enjoy
that
it.
so much. And that's
Once you stop though, it's tough to get back into it. Like I stopped 5 weeks ago.
uh
I have it probably.
yeah. It's because you have to you realize that the game requires more of you than you can give. And
Hmm.
to truly escape into games like that, you need to play them for like a couple hours at a time at least.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So
You
there's
get into them.
yeah,
So you absorb the world and you start getting there's humor points too that you
yeah,
have to pick up on. You wouldn't pick up on them just real quick in passing. It's almost like a trope in a book or a movie, like we kind of touched on.
yeah. And you like there's an escapism factor that you're doing a disservice to the game if you're not escaping into it. Like you're missing the
Mhm.
art style, you're not absorbing it all. I feel like
Yeah,
you and I get to that point now at our age
yeah,
where it's like
I agree.
if we had more time, it would be way more engaging. Certain games.
100%.
Like I do this.
Like just because you. Go ahead.
I do this with Bioshock. I definitely did it. Like I would disappear and like I'd feel like I was actually under the sea in like this madman's castle, whatever you call it. And then the music would get to me, and like even like securing rooms and stuff. They had like you could set up the cameras to protect you, and you could set up traps and like little turrets. So like all that stuff was like it makes you feel more secure. Like even in like the darkest, dingiest area, it's like you could hear like the ding 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 ding, like you'd know that like someone was coming, and you'd hear them like hit every tripwire like, and then like you'd hear like all these things firing at them. It's I miss games that allow you to be like in your own little cocoon, your little bubble.
I'm sure they still exist, but like you said, time. We can't invest in all these games. There's also so many games out now.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Did you ever play Bioshock 2?
Yes, I played every Bioshock.
Did you? What about the one the one that was like off the cuff? It was kind of weird. Yeah, Sky. That one.
Like they had like a robotic Lincoln.
Yeah, there's rails in the sky you could go on or something.
Not as engaging for me.
Okay.
But it was pretty good. There's some humor there that was like a colonial feel.
I never played that one.
It's just playing the original like the quote unquote original Bioshocks, which is based off of System Shock. Like the System Shock was the first precursor to Bioshock.
Yeah, I never played System Shock, and I can literally picture the album art for that game, like the eyes and the electric things. Yeah. Well, was that essentially the same idea? What was it? Same creator, same developer?
They were learning how to develop Bioshock essentially.
The physics.
Yeah. One night there was like a 2-hour documentary on them making it, and like the amount of stuff that they talk about that they didn't add, or like how they didn't know what direction they were going into. It makes it so baffling. It's almost like the creation of a video game. You have to stumble aimlessly into something that works.
Well, and then there's other like literally, because I have done those episodes with What the Famicom. You can look him up, guys. If I never plugged his name, he would be so mad. It's WTFAMICOM. Famicom. Go ahead, look him up. He's got his own thing. But when we start talking about these games, a lot of the problems that any developer or game runs into is they actually have too wide an idea. They're like, I want the character to be able to do this. I want him to do this. I want him to be able to do this. And then when we get to a certain level, he can do this. We can unlock all of this stuff. And everyone has these great ideas. And the programmer goes, hey, wait, I can only do that first part. And they're like, okay, well, you can do more. We'll give you a little more money. Can you release in like 6 months? And he's like, no. And then they run into the problem where people are pushing them to release early. People are pushing them to do this. So you get this like capitalistic thing that's going on where I think if a video game was perfect and it had ultimate time and ultimate money, you could do a lot with just about every video game. But they all have release dates. They all have marketing. They all have producers that said, hey, we gave you the money. Can you release it in about 2 months? The guy's like, no, I want to make it better. But they can't always. And then there's a pull, there's a tug. It's a weird thing.
It's the potential flop that you've wasted all this time, because you could develop a game for years.
And money, yeah.
Waste so much.
Spend a lot of money. I think Curt Schilling did it. You remember the pitch?
He played EverQuest, yeah.
No. Wait. He tried to create a game.
He did?
Yeah. Oh, that explains why he did this. So, Curt Schilling failed game. I don't know if it was a system, a game, a prize. All I know is I was like, I didn't know Curt Schilling, the pitcher, previously for Red Sox, Phillies, a couple others. He got a lot of money from the state, I want to say, which doesn't make sense, but he got a lot of money to make a video game. It failed miserably.
Well, he secured a $75 million loan.
That's it.
His company was called 38 Studios.
Yeah.
And he made a game called Kingdoms of Amular Reckoning. It's a role-playing game.
It released?
It released and sold
300,000
copies in the first month, and then it sold 1.2 million copies in the first 90 days.
That's not bad.
And then it shut down a few months later.
Why?
I guess
because that sounds like
alone he probably overspent.
Uh, hmm.
Just reading it.
I apologize. I didn't even think he released it. I thought it went belly up before him.
Yeah, they went bankrupt. I guess they overspent, and then
I
they
guess
also
so.
had a bunch of people's money tied into it that were like national baseball,
Okay.
and they apparently like the backing was not secured well enough.
Hmm.
The
That'll
video.
happen. So what I was getting at there, though, is just that a game can be as perfect as it wants to be, storyboard wise. Maybe you have the best story ever, but you have a shitty company backing it, or the wrong programmers making the controls for it, or the wrong people doing graphic design. Like a
Yeah,
video game,
somebody that's a dick and tired of working on it ruins it.
or what?
If they like, if
Somebody's
you
a
get like
dick.
an asshole or like antisocial programmer that like is going in their
Uh-huh.
own way, doing their own thing, you need to integrate the whole team together so that they're working together to build something. If there is one
Right.
guy that doesn't work, like you can't work around him.
No, you can't because you need that implement for your game. I mean, can you be like, well, we'll just skip on the graphics, or well, we don't need good controls, but this happens in games, I assume, right? I mean, you come across this all the time where games like you're like, it was so good, it just sucked to control, or the graphics were so shitty. Load times were ridiculous.
Did you ever play a game back maybe
Hmm.
like around like age 12? There's a game where like you could. It was really simple and really stupid. Like you were like flying helicopters around, and like for some reason the controls were so awful that you would always crash. Like the difficulty was all in like trying to fly a helicopter with a shitty control. And like
Do
you're
you
the
know what it
whole
was
you're
called?
trying to like fly through these rings. Like you're I don't know what that was. It's like it's so generic and so weird.
It was 3D, correct?
Yes,
Like
yeah,
you
it was
have to
like
go
one of the
up,
first
down, left,
three.
and right.
Yeah,
Yeah, this sounds really familiar, and it was really, 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 really hard.
I think it was on
This does sound
N64.
so familiar.
That was a prime example of the ones that like the controls are so awkward and like the way you move is so
In
terrible
non-intuitive, it
or
was bad. Like
slow
it's
or
yeah,
like you can't
ruins the
look.
game.
Yeah, it destroys the game.
So it doesn't matter how great it was graphically, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, just every piece has to click. Kurt Schilling
Like I was
can't win. Pilot Wings.
Pilot Wings. I don't recognize the name, but I feel like I know the game. The did you come across games that were so good? I mean, we're talking about games that always are missing an element or something. Did you come across games that were so good it literally like maybe changed your life? Not like in a I graduated from school. Thank you, Half-Life 2. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but
Like a
Half-Life 2,
Quake
by the way, is one of the best games I've ever played.
or like a Tribes. So that
Yeah, you
that's a
always talk
social
about
element
tribes.
of
Go ahead.
Tribes. Like Tribes is like they call it skiing. Like it's a way you would like move through an environment so that you could maximize your momentum and then like launch yourself off a mountain. And it was like all team based. So like the whole thing was creating a clan of people a tribe of people that would play together, and then that formulated my whole like aspect of leadership because like I was like a secondary leader in that, and that sounds stupid to say, and that's something I put on my like high school application. I think like I'm a
Did you?
leader. I think I did like National Honor Society. You have to like write a sentence about like how you're a leader. Like that's what I wrote about. Like I was a leader on my
God
tribe clan.
damn, they should have known back
They should
then.
have fired me.
They probably they should have.
uh, and yeah, there's some pieces of that like even as like a like a 14-year-old kid, I was still leading pretty well. It's like that little piece. It allows you to experience things without any negative feedback. Because like really, you
Interesting.
can just turn it off if someone's like, "Hey, you suck," and then like, or you can like boot them from your clan or something. So the like video games allow that separation of anxiety and allow you to play in physics and leadership and different skills that you might not do.
So it's like in a way, it's the playground for kids who weren't good at the playground.
Yeah,
Well, I
exactly.
mean,
Well, that is
who
stereotypical who you see as like
I
the
know.
nerd.
Well, I'm saying, but you could also be good at the playground and do that stuff at the playground. I'm not saying you aren't.
Yeah.
I'm just saying if you weren't, you could experience all the same things, leadership roles,
Yeah.
the push and pull, the social aspects. You could experience them not in the playground. You could experience them in a game.
That's StarCraft.
Yeah.
Did you ever stay up
Zord
late?
Rush.
Yeah. LAN
Nah,
parties.
I was always too mad at StarCraft.
Oh, I had definitely played that with like uh, two of our friends,
You can
Trav
drop
and
some
Den.
names, I don't care. Did you?
They
Is
would
that
come
who
over
played?
and
Oh,
then
that's
get
so
on the
cool.
network and we battle three people versus
Oh,
computer.
wait, that's kind of badass. So how did that always pan out? Was everyone always one class, or like was there a certain attack scheme? Like was someone a rusher, or was someone like building? I'm just curious. I feel like you were a builder.
I'm definitely a builder. I like to
Yeah,
secure
yeah,
my
like
area.
just building up, securing that area, just investing in your resources. That's what you were doing. I
Yeah,
could see it.
I'd make the maps so that like that's again like part of my like architecting
Uh-huh.
of things. I'd make the
Sure.
maps so that you could pick a location and then defend from it. And like the whole thing was that like one of us would be in that location and the other two would have to like they'd be like Terran or something else, so they'd lift off and like come and then
Wait, so what were
we
you?
uh I like Terran because of the tanks, like the way the tanks would like or the
Yeah,
Protoss.
yeah.
Zorg were
I could
worthless.
see you being Protoss. Yeah, Zerg not for defense.
Too much
Definitely not
work
for
to
defense.
rebuild stuff because they can't defend themselves.
Yeah, no. They're all about rushes.
Yeah, and going around the map and doing, and also the noises,
Goofy
like the
Zerg
noises,
stuff.
like
Yeah.
you'd hear that noise, like oh god, whose
Who's
job
sucking
is
off?
it to? Yeah,
um, that's funny. Was one of you better than the others or anything? I was just curious.
I don't. It's not. I never liked to go against other people, like head to head.
Really?
It really frustrated me because people would use gimmicks. I would
Shitty.
call them.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, of course. Oh, well, you gotta exploit what you can
yeah.
exploit,
I'm
dude.
just
That's
gonna
part of the
rush you with
game.
the same unit over and over again, and then once I hit a certain point, if I haven't defeated you, I'm gonna hit you with the other unit. It's like the end
Yeah,
game unit.
yeah,
Yeah, it's bullshit.
it is.
It always frustrated me. So
What game did we always play in our high school computer lab? Oh, Team Fortress.
did we?
Yeah,
I
dude.
don't
That's the
remember.
first time I ever played a real LAN game. So what was it Counter Strike had that skin or what? Not skin, I guess that mode or whatever. Team Fortress, where you could be an engineer, a medic, a spy, or whatever.
I never played it.
First time, first time I ever played a game that had classes and was a multiplayer game. That's like literally what any multiplayer game ever now. But it was in our computer lab and it was like super high speed and like no lag and it was awesome.
I do remember our computer lab being like ultra high tech,
Yeah.
and it
Well,
had
because
like
it was all connected. It was all really well done. It was like paid for. That bad boy was humming. Mm.
they had like the IT director, which had his office like right next to the computer lab. Like he
Yeah.
must have had the sweetest gig ever because like he had like a little like office by himself, a
Team
dim room.
and
He could have
team to
done
do all this shit.
yeah. And once it's done, like what do? You just monitor the system in a high school. Like how much difficulty like are you gonna have?
I don't know, dude. I feel like I was always just downloading essays or like looking up like borderline porn or like just I feel like I was pushing the envelope at all times, like downloading CDs at school because it was easier because the internet connection. It's like
It's so much
things that were
faster.
illegal. Yeah, exactly. They were illegal, but like more frowned upon than illegal. So I feel like he could have maybe had to take care of
Took
that, but
heat from
maybe he
it.
did.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I don't think anybody
Good gig.
monitored the internet back then.
No, no, no. It was the Wild West.
The Napster thing kind of had its fallout like maybe mid college, so we had a good 4 years of like free Wild West, free reign. I love the Wild West.
Kazaa.
Cause ah,
Yeah,
yeah, LimeWire.
LimeWire, yeah. All them shareware PvPs, baby.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing now, but most of them are probably dead.
Probably. So let's go back to video games real quick, just in the light of how about emotional connections? Final Fantasy VII came out in like
Is this the one where the
'99.
girl gets killed?
Yeah, I was really upset, dude. I was
I've
very
heard
upset.
about people crying about this game, and I've never
I
played it.
didn't I didn't cry, but
She was the
it
innocent
counts
one.
up how many hours you've played the game, and at 99 hours and 99 minutes it stops. So like I never knew how long I played Final Fantasy VII, but I put my life into that game, and then she's dead. I'm chasing a guy. I got all the materia. I got gold chocobos. Like that was a little bit of my life. Yeah, chocobo baby. It's like a giant ostrich you can ride. They're
Oh,
cute.
yeah.
Yeah. The there are certain games where you pour yourself into, like the environment, the characters, everything. Like I just mentioned the Metal Gear Solid one. Like that game had me like twisted like a 13-year-old watching The Matrix. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I was like, oh damn, war is hell. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh. And like I can remember the characters like punching each other and like they're bleeding from their mouth and he's like, Liquid Snake, give up. And he's like, no. And like all of a sudden there's like deceit going on where I'm like, what? She was on my team the whole time. I just spent 15 hours playing this game where she's on my team. She's turning on me? What? Like it was the first time you could get that from a game that was like it tricked me almost, or it like made me
That's
it made me feel what's the word? I don't know. It's like a higher
betrayed.
level of art, but
It's
it's
an
like you don't.
emotional connection. So like the same thing happened to
Yeah.
me with Fantasy Star. Have you ever played that one?
Mm-mm.
I think I played Fantasy Star when Final Fantasy was out, and Fantasy
Okay.
Star did the same thing where you played for literally probably like 30 something hours. Like you get 30 something hours in, you have all the characters you want, you built them the way you want, and then there's nothing you can do to save one of the characters' lives,
Mm-hmm.
and they die, and you're just crushed, and you're just like, I built this team from like they don't come back. That's it. That's all you had.
Don't you feel like you want to keep playing for vengeance? Isn't that weird to say that about a video game? You're like, I gotta keep playing
Wasn't that the
for
whole
so and
point
so.
of Final Fantasy?
I guess I don't even know, man. It's like messing with your
How did the
emotions,
girl
but it's
die? Didn't like the
she was stabbed by a sword by Sephiroth. I'm not gonna get into it. Yeah,
It's too much. Too much. I can't handle it.
it's too much. It's too much. Like, but these games like kind of manipulate you in the way that movies do. I think I relate it to movies very much because it's a visual medium. There's different cuts and angles, except that you control things. So it makes you feel like it's a movie you control, and then when you get stabbed or you get whatever, it feels a little more personal. I don't know.
Well,
I think of it
catharsis
as like a yeah, well,
and
I feel like it's a
empathy.
personal movie a little bit. Is it? Like how
Yeah,
about did you ever get into like the I'm sure you did EverQuest and Skyrims and all that?
EverQuest 100%. Skyrim. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I think I played every little nook and cranny. I think it's part of the world that you're. They've done so much work building it
Those
for
games
you.
are an actual world. It's
Yeah,
not a joke. It's like you can go around there and find little mice that can bite you, and you can kill those mice and cook them.
and
And
then
then
you
it's
eat
like,
them, and you get a bonus
yeah,
for it. I
you
don't know if
get a
you get a
bonus
bonus,
for it.
but
And no, I don't know. You get help.
so someone thought about it. Someone created the mouse. Someone
Yeah,
said they're going to be in this environment. Someone said they're going to move like this. And
but if it's, I've read somewhere it's like the equivalent of like walking 12 miles, the area, whatever. So the chance of someone finding these mice or this individual mouse, deciding to kill it, and then deciding to cook it, it's like how many people are going to do that?
it's a
What are the
rarity.
percentages?
Yeah.
But but they made it into the game so you could. And something about that is so beautiful, so weird, and so awesome. It's like, yeah, I'm going to do it.
There's probably like an intern that worked like all like their entire career was like just
Just
making
just for that one mouse,
mouse
that one
movements,
mouse.
and you immediately killed it.
It's so weird. Well, no, they made it to be killed. That's kind of the cool thing. Like I think they wanted someone to kill it, if that makes sense, and eat it.
You need to watch Westworld.
Okay. I've never seen it. I know it's a simulation or a something or I
Yeah,
guess it's like a human video game in the
animatronic
mind. Okay, I'll
AI,
leave it there. Don't ruin it. I understand.
Wild West.
I feel like Will Smith is gonna just pop on and
Woo!
sing the song. Woo! Wild West, Desperado, no, Rough Rider, do.
Like 1990 something.
That movie was like I didn't like that movie. Did you
It's
like it?
terrible. It's
Okay, good. I thought it was supposed to be good at the time, and I was like, I just don't get it. It's weird. It's like steampunk. It's like I don't
something
know.
off-putting about it. That's like when you're if you were to watch a movie and then like zoom in two times on the screen, like you don't know like there's periphery there that should be there, and it makes you
Mhm.
uncomfortable because you should see more.
Weird. What are you talking about? Is this an effect? A
I feel
mental
like
thing?
it's like the staging of Wild Wild West. Like there's
Oh,
things
you're
on
speaking of this movie
yeah
specifically.
yeah. There's
Oh,
something unnerving about it. Maybe it's like the unnatural
Weird.
zoom, or like something about the way it's staged that makes you feel
Maybe they had to
uncomfortable.
do that for budget reasons too. Like
Yeah,
because
maybe.
they couldn't afford to make, I mean, it's hard to do it's called a render distance when they do when they do more visual effects in a larger field.
Uh-huh.
Anyway,
Yeah.
you gotta match up lighting, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So,
Do you know how video games actually made? Then you have like all these polygons and vertices and like how you're wrapping textures around things. Like if you want to,
sort, but keep going.
it's a weirdness. So like earlier on, it's like you'd have like a cube, and the cube
Sure.
would be like, oh, we made a 3D game, and you could add colors and texture to it. But like if you were trying to represent a ball, like the ball would require you to have so many different, like
A million different cubes,
a
kind of.
curve, yeah, curve, yeah, exactly. A curve is not
You
representable
can't
in,
make an infinitesimal points.
yeah,
So you have to cheat and make a bajillion cubes and position them at all different angles. Is that the idea for for a circle?
kind of. But you can like you could start doing things that are weird because like you can define it as a cube and make it look like a sphere because of the
Mm-hmm.
way that light shines off of it. So it gets into very like weird mathematics about how you like you get like different normals and stuff. That's actually like the way light would shine off an object to make it seem like it has a surface, but it didn't. You get into some really weird like texturing, and it's just if you've ever designed or tried to design a video game, it becomes very weird to do it from the ground up without having like an engine behind it.
Interesting. Like stealing the Unreal 3 engine or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, and even then, it's like it's a monstrosity to try to deal with that.
What's weird is, do you even notice that? Like certain games, it's like there's only like 40 engines out there for video games, and you just steal one of the 40 and then make your
Yeah.
game off of it.
What are well, I don't know. I'm kind of curious what the top video games engines are.
I'm sure it's the Unreal 3 or whatever the fuck it's called.
I'm pretty sure Unreal's the.
Number one, it's like the go-to.
I'm trying to get one that's not
Now, is
biased.
that because they've had one that's based on their light shining, and is it physics as well, like how objects interact, or just how they look, like the rendering?
I think it's both.
The engine, is it okay?
Because it's like bounding boxing, like putting like actual limits on stuff. Like if you
Okay,
let something an object be defined by the engine, it's easier to let the engine decide how it's going to interact with the world and look.
right. You don't have to make those split decisions and
Yeah,
work through a million billion billion questions. So
I'm trying to see.
okay,
Um, so they have rendering engine, audio engine, physics engine, artificial intelligence. Part of
physics engine.
it's like the Half-Life engine. Well, I think that what's that based off of?
I thought that was a form of the Unreal, but maybe it's not.
Um,
Do it. Half-Life in general. I want to talk about that game. That game is one of my probably top five games of all time.
Gold Source.
No, I don't recognize that name. Is that
Quake. It's a
GoldenEye?
modified Quake engine.
Ah,
So
which is related to Unreal. So really,
yeah,
come on.
Quake was created by John Carmack. You know that? He was on Rogan.
Yeah, yeah, Doom.
He was yeah. It's nuts. That guy. I don't know how his brain functions, but he was able to do so much for like the gaming
Hold on,
industry.
this is so weird. So there's John Carmack. Who else is on Doom team? There's like three big boys. Carmack. It's gonna bug me. Either way, we didn't even get to these games. Like Doom,
John
um,
Romero,
Ray Romero,
Tom
Carmack,
Hall,
and Tom Hall. Is that his name? I
Tim
can't remember that.
Willits. I kind of remember him.
I can't remember him.
It's funny because these people like if you
Isn't
were
it
you
funny that they're all like superstars? This is exactly why this is like movies. It's like we're like, oh, do you remember Reservoir Dogs? And it's like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, do you know who so and so was in it? And you're like, he was in it too. He was in it too. And it's like you look at the past, and there's this one movie where like eight guys were in it, and they all became mega superstars. It happens in video games too, and it's kind of weird, isn't it?
it's weird in that I did not know any of this. Like yeah, when you're a kid,
Oh
even in your
really? Yeah.
20s,
Oh,
like
as
I
a
don't
kid, of
connect it at
course.
all. But
No,
like once you realize that like your favorite games were all made by like a handful of
some of the
designers
same guys. Yeah,
interweaving on different
it
projects,
makes sense.
and
It
like if
makes
I were to
sense.
see these people in normal like everyday life, I would not. I would not know who they were.
It's also like this in music, though. Don't you realize back in the past that you're like, oh my God, so and so collaborated with so and so for a project, and you're like, oh my God, they did this with whatchamacall. Oh my God, this song had so and so, or oh, writing credit to this guy helped produce it. It's like you don't realize that when you're younger and you're listening and you're enjoying the art, if we were to call it art, because that's what I'm saying right here, folks. But it's integral.
That's like Dave Grohl, like being part of like Tenacious D. Like you're like, what?
Nirvana.
Nirvana, that too. It's like he goes back.
No idea.
It's interesting because these people are all devoting. Like I don't know anything else aside from what they've done in like gaming or music.
The product in front of you, and what they're giving you. You know that. That's all you know,
devoted their
right?
life to that art. And I don't think I could do that. Like I don't know that I could go all in on like I'm gonna make a video game, and hopefully it turns out for the best, and then turns into something like this might be like one of those like cases of survivors bias, or like you're looking at these people that are still successful. Maybe there's so many people out there that are not successful, or they're in the grinder, or they're not gonna work out.
But they're giving their life for it. Isn't that weird? Yeah, I agree. Here's something we'll get into. Have you ever had a game that like messed you up, or like was like legitimately like made you like
warps your mind? It's Katamari Damacy.
That game was nuts.
It's like
wait, did you notice you could see his package every time there was a loading screen?
Yeah, and it like jiggle a little bit. You see it jiggle?
I just in general, there was no need for the art to be that graphic, and I was always like, "Come on!" I feel like it's a kid's game, but I feel like it's an adult game, and I feel like it's somewhere in between. That was a really cool game.
But that warps your mind, like the way you interact with the world. You start to think of things in the way
micro level, and then a macro level,
and then rolling over.
You're right.
With a giant ball.
And rolling over them with a giant ball. How about like super extreme violent games? I mean, I know we didn't get into this, but there's games where I think it was called Manhunt.
No, I didn't.
And it was a game where you were a convicted felon and you would hide behind stuff. One of those stealth games, kind of like Metal Gear Solid, except that you would use stuff in your surroundings to kill the guards. And it was like the things you would find were like a baseball bat, a wooden bat, and you would have to kill a guard with it by holding down the button longer or shorter. And it would do a more or less gruesome kill. Like you could like shove it in their throat to kill them or something.
It's like
one of the other weapons. Yeah, a little bit. One of the other items was like a plastic bag, and you would shove it over their head and suffocate them while you punch them or something. Like this stuff was literally the most violent thing they could think of for a game in the darkest world they could. And I don't know that it made me want to be a school shooter or anything like that, but it is a bit dark. But then again, we go back to movies. I've seen movies that are
far darker.
Far darker.
I don't know. I always thought that was like an expression of something that like maybe you wanted to experience but not necessarily do. So like I'm sure there are people out there that are influenced by it and they decide that they want to do something because they saw that. But they're like, probably already
what if they make like rape games? Like, are people gonna play that? And is that like okay? Like, I don't know. I'm like, oh Jesus.
I don't know how. You're
like I don't.
I don't think I would.
I don't want to buy a rape game. You're like I
wouldn't want to have it in my possession. Like imagine someone like if anybody ever
comes
found
into your house and opens your CD case and they're like, you have the rape game?
That's worse.
And you're like,
a porno.
Oh, I didn't realize that was there. Huh, that's weird. It says that you have 32 hours long. Oh, someone must have started it and paused it for 32 hours straight.
Yeah.
There are lines in video games. I don't know what they are, and I'm not here to censor people and tell them what it is, but like I don't know, man. There's like stuff that gets too far. Nope.
So we're gonna talk about this.
Okay.
There's a line being drawn, and in the past you could have a game, a shooter that was like in a school, like maybe not have kids in it, but like they would put certain settings that are now completely taboo because of.
I think Doom or Wolfenstein had a skin where you could go in a school. Yeah, I believe.
There was like some outrage about it because it was just like too realistic for
of course
people. And
keep in mind, it's a 2D sprites everywhere. It looks like garbage. Like it looks
Yeah.
way worse than any like 3D Call of Duty 5 we have now. It's like super graphical and super good and super polygon and super good blood spray and everything else. So that like I put it like this. Do you remember the outrage over Mortal Kombat, the original, when the more fatality you could rip Kano would rip someone's heart out? But what he would do is he would punch their chest and pull out this like kind of red brown blob, and it would like spin in a circle, and he would hold it and it would drip. But it A didn't look like a heart. B was horrible graphically. It was like 8-bit, and like moms everywhere were freaking out that kids were gonna start ripping hearts out. I look at it now and I'm like, it's a joke. No one friggin' cares.
Eat your heart out. Is that what it's called? Kano?
Now, rip your heart out. Mortal Kombat 1. Make sure it's 1.
Oh yeah, this is
It's
so shitty.
so exactly like at the time people were like,
That
kids are
was
gonna start
terrible.
ripping each other's hearts out. People are gonna start freaking out because at the time that was graphically as good as a video game could be. You look at it now and you're like, that's
a
literally
joke.
shit.
Yeah.
I just see a red blob spinning in a circle. This isn't scary. It's not making me be violent. Like, can you imagine being incensed to violence by that video you just saw?
No, not at all. It's so corny. It's so
But
awful.
is that like kind of with the times? Like, do you think the graphics we're looking at now will look like shit in 10 years and we'll be like,
Like VR? Like if people are training in VR to load
no.
guns and fire them and track people down, like have you played VR yet?
No, I've never played a VR actually because I think it's still in the early phases. I'm not ready to like waste money on something that looks kind of cool, but not really.
It's kind of cartoony. I played one where it was like there was one where like zombies were coming from all directions and you had to constantly spin around and shoot them, but you had to like stay in the same spot because the VR hasn't really progressed to
It was
easily
limited.
running.
Yeah.
But it really gets into you. It's like you're really there.
Does it?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
There's another one that's cartoony where like you're on the tower and you're have a bow and arrow and you're trying to hit people that are running towards your gate. So you're constantly
Is this
shooting
the
bow and arrow.
stick figure guys?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's actually a good company. Whoever makes that, Orange Box, it might be.
Maybe.
They make good stuff. They make good stuff.
I think so.
Regardless, yeah. Regardless, do you think in like 15 years, like we'll have VR that's so good that people won't believe we'll play just like regular face forward games in video games?
I don't know. There's a point where it becomes too much work, and then I don't think people like this is the movie versus video game versus
It's
VR.
It's $1 billion industry. If there's you say too much work, someone will friggin' do it.
I'm not saying to do the game. I'm talking to play.
Oh,
the game.
okay.
Like people get physically tired playing these games.
Okay.
Like there's another like not lightsaber. I forget what. Like there's a VR game called Light something, and it was like you would be hitting. It's almost like a Guitar Hero, kind of like
Uh-huh.
you're hitting these things as they come at you. So you're constantly moving your arms left and right trying to hit them, and like the people who play it say it's like it's more than exercise because you're sweating and you're completely into it and your brain's engaged and like you've got everything going trying to do this thing. It's not just like running on a treadmill where you're just standing there running.
Did you hear the guy who he had a VR, he did Skyrim, and he hooked up his treadmill to walk when he walked. So it was comparative distance, like however your character runs or walks.
Beat Saber.
Oh, what?
Beat Saber. That's what it's called.
Oh, no.
Look up a video on that one. Keep going. Sorry.
Sorry, but this guy, when he was walking around in Skyworld or Skyrim or whatever, he lost like 40 pounds from walking on his treadmill. Yeah, because well, think about it. I mean, how far do you friggin' walk? You walk really far. It's like it's a long waste of time in a way.
If you could run.
So in fact, hold on. Do you know what the coolest thing that happened to me? Skyrim came out like a week prior to this event, so it kept getting good reviews. And I've never played a game. I never played EverQuest, and I played Skyrim. And the first 10 minutes is kind of bullcrap to kind of get you into the game. Like you're gonna be beheaded, whatever.
The intro that
There's a
gets spliced.
dragon.
Have you seen Reddit does that thing?
I've seen it with what Macho Man Randy Savage
where he
on the dragon's head.
Oh no, I haven't seen. Have you like the intro to Skyrim? I think you get knocked out and you wake up from blackness into like you're on a cart that's slowly moving. They do it for like they'll have some other intro of like something happening and it'll turn black and then it'll switch to Skyrim and it'll be like the intro to Skyrim. Like you fall like they fall down a well and at the bottom of the well you're waking up to Skyrim.
You wake up to Skyrim. Well, that's like the joke. Until I took an arrow to the knee. Like you know what I mean? Like there's jokes. That's it's like these video games made jokes in our lives, like everyday jokes. It's kind of funny. No, but I played Skyrim on a really nice computer. I think when I built this computer.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. Anyway,
3 years ago.
It was no, so I guess it had to be my Xbox 360. I don't know.
Okay,
is that what it came? Anyway, I'm sorry. I may or may not have smoked some THC material, and I was playing the game, and you get through that first 10 minutes. And then all of a sudden you're outside of the cave and you're in the world. And I never played EverQuest at the time.
You're comparing it to EverQuest because it's immersive.
Well, because it's from the same creators, same type game. Wait, isn't EverQuest?
I don't know.
Or is it? What's the name of the Skyrim prequel?
Oh, you're talking about oh shit.
I'm saying the wrong one. I apologize.
There's Daggerfall, and then there was
Morrowind. What's Morrowind? Excuse me, Morrowind. I apologize, everyone. I'm an idiot. I meant Morrowind. I never played it. Thank you.
I was like, I'm curious.
Where are they related? No, because it's same game, same creator, same world, same idea. I never played that one, so I was literally high as hell, and I came out of that cave, and it was on a big screen TV, and I looked around at me, and I got this feeling from a video game I can't explain. I had a bow and arrow, and I pulled it because I thought there was danger, and it was a deer. Yeah. And I just looked at the deer in a video game. I'm not even talking about real life. And it was just eating and feeding. And I looked at it, and I didn't know, should I shoot? Should I? I kind of don't want to. And you know what I did? I shot and missed, okay? It took off running. So you know what I did? I just started running through the woods. No, I started running through the woods. And I think I ran for like 5-10 minutes. It felt like eternity. And I was running, and I'd never seen half of these trees before, half of this foliage before, because it's a video game, and I've never been in the outside world. You know what I mean?
The real outside world.
The real outside world. And then I pulled out my bow and arrow again, and I shot some other animal, and I killed it. And I picked it up, and I could do whatever with it. I ate it. And I felt so like I was in that world. I can't... So I was at one with nature. I didn't want to do any of the missions in the goddamn game. I just wanted to live off the land for the rest of my life. Except that like it was like probably like 1 a.m. and I was like, it's time to go to bed.
Yeah.
But like there was that weird thing where I didn't feel like I was me. I was in that world, and I was gonna eat.
You can feel the world.
Muskrat for the rest of my life, or whatever the fuck it was.
I think there's a weird divergence here.
Yeah.
People are getting more and more separated from nature, and then using electronics in gaming to get back to nature.
Isn't that weird? I felt so connected to that world. I can't even explain it.
There's a weirdness there also for like game schemes and money, and it just makes you aware of like different things about the world.
God damn. Let's go there. Let's talk about the.
I'm talking about the saving money. Like there's
the
risk and reward is definitely there. Yeah.
I think we're going to talk about building up your add-ons and and
loot boxes,
downloadable content and loot boxes,
and microtransactions. The worst game I ever played for that was like Crackdown, because it was. I think they added it mid-game where like you would play the game. I was going to say I played Crackdown. Yeah, but then they'd have like they used to have like these missions that would like they'd be like a light that would shine into the sky, be like a spotlight. And you'd go there, and it would tell you what the mission is, and you decided what it was. and then they added these microtransactions that look the same way, and then like you'd land on them, and then like a little pop up would come up, be like, "Do
Do
you
you
want
want
to
to
play
pay
this for X dollars?"
$1.99? You're like, what?
The
No.
fuck? No, I don't want that
I
package.
bought the game, dude. I bought the game.
Yeah, stop. You're destroying the continuity.
You're
of playing the
breaking
game.
you're breaking it down. You're not making it feel real. Weird. Where are we gonna go with video games here?
I
Let's
was gonna go
round it up.
I was gonna go like teaching things that, like money, like saving in video games is something I would do, like saving up for the end. But there's also the realization that like sometimes you save up too much money for the end, and like you have all this excess stuff that you're just like, well, there's nothing to do. Like it's
No,
the
you've
actual,
never done that before.
yeah, it's the actual doing of things and experience of things, and maybe the
It's
struggle
the
that's
friends
more.
we made along the way
Yes.
that was the real fun.
Yeah.
Do
And like life is kind of the
you
same way, is that you
remember?
building towards, a lot of people are building towards a thing that they'll never get, or they will
Yeah,
get and it'll be
that's
disappointing.
real life too.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
Microcosm.
So did you ever play Fear? First
I've
person
seen other
shooter?
people play it, but no.
So they made sticky grenades, which you could throw on someone, and then it would turn into a trigger, and at any point you could hit the trigger button to blow it up. And for whatever reason, you could throw it on an enemy. If they weren't looking at you, they didn't know that it was on them.
Nice. They didn't feel
And in the game Fear, there was a slow-mo button where you could slow down time, and it was ridiculously ahead of its time. Beautiful graphical
it's
game.
like Fallout,
Just dude, no, better graphics than Fallout.
but like slow-mo explosion.
Yes. Oh, but even better looking. And the explosion was like electronic, so it was like, and there would be like a shower of blood and skin and whatever have you in a bubble.
Oh.
And one of the coolest things me and my old roommate Tom did was we got a sticky grenade on a guard. He didn't notice. We went to some other area and like came up an elevator that faced him, and literally we put it in slow mo. The elevator's still going up. It stops. The doors open in slow mo. The guard turns and goes, "Hey, what are you doing here?" Or whatever the hell they do. Like they do that. They're alert mode in slow mo. They're alert. I still remember it, and I just remember laughing so hard. I was laughing so hard in that room, and hitting the just shoot button, and that guard exploded so beautifully in 3D. I've never seen anything that made me laugh that hard. And I was just like, oh my God, Tom, that was the best thing I've ever seen. Let's do it 10 more times. And that's all we did for the rest of the night. Like we were just sticking guards, letting them see us. And once you saw us, you're dead, buddy. It was so weird. I don't know.
The control
Like
and the
I made
possibility.
games inside of games.
Yes,
You do
100%.
that?
That's the
You love doing that.
that's playing GTA. You and I driving around and pull up to a
God.
train state, like a train stop, like crossing, and there's another person that's right in front of us, and we just like
kept pushing his car into the train, and eventually the train took his life, didn't it?
The car like literally exploded into a flip and like launched itself off the map. But it was hilarious because we both like, standard procedure is just like pull up and wait, and like you're just like, and he just like took off and rammed him in there.
Shoved him into it. Yeah. It's all about the random things you do within a game. So, one thing me and what the Famicom did in GTA 5, in the same way that me and you played it, we got sticky grenades. We stuck them all over a fire engine. Okay.
That's the master.
We got it's part of it. We got a cargo bob, which was like the helicopter that had the hooks at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
And we picked up said fire truck covered in explosives. Okay. We're playing multiplayer.
You love this so much.
Oh my God, this is one of my favorite memories. I still remember his name. It was like Taco Fart or Taco 441 or Taco Fart 1, whatever his name is. If he's watching, shout out. One of us got into the fire engine. So you're in the driving wheel for the fire engine. You're not controlling it because it's just being suspended in the air, but it's for effect. And the other person's driving the helicopter, and we drove the helicopter, and this dude, Taco Fart, is like shooting at two players with a pistol. And we're like, listen, I got a cargo bob, I got a fire truck covered in explosives. we drove right over where he was and dropped the fire engine, right?
On top of
Fire engine's fallen, dude. And I think it was Dan in the other vehicle, the other Dan.
it.
And he's first person, so he can see his steering wheel and he can see this fart taco getting closer and closer. And the vehicle gravity's pulling it, and eventually fart taco's still shooting a pistol at us. I still don't know why. He gets down there, and then at the last second, he hits the button to detonate all the explosives. And it just said everyone died. Like fart taco, Dan, anything. It was so beautiful that I could hit him from in the air that far up and end his life and ruin his game or whatever. He respawned like a minute later. He probably didn't care, but like there's something beautiful about being able to do that. And you get so creative. And shout out Taco for
it's dominoes. It's setting up every domino, and then when it falls in the right way, it's so amazingly perfect.
So good, especially because the other person's a human. Like you're playing a human a little bit, aren't you? Which is weird.
There's a weird emotion that you're applying to them because you're feeling their pain.
So
you love it.
Lastly, we should touch on Call of Duty 4.
Modern
Warfare.
Sure.
So you're talking to two guys who we're probably
top 10. Probably not.
Let's go top 100.
Yeah.
Top 100 in the world. And I say in the world in general. I mean, we had different rules, different whatever, but
yeah, some of us are.
So we play Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, which I don't know if anyone's played. Maybe you have played, maybe haven't. Check it out. We had a weird rule where me and Dan would play without guns. It's like everyone watches like, wait a minute, so could you kill anyone? Well, we did 3 grenades each, and we had knives, and it became second nature, dude.
Yeah, I think it's the way you would move around the map.
Oh, the way you would move.
It's so different than trying to use a gun that like people didn't know what to expect, and then like the
people would
like a weird distance
aim at you and down, look at their barrel, trying to figure out where you are, trying to shoot you.
Move
in the
like
meantime,
kind of like Bobby
while
zigzag.
they're doing that, oh yeah, dude, I could probably still move perfectly for that game. I could probably still time a grenade. That's the other thing. Like a grenade was like, what was it, like 3.8226 seconds?
Yeah, like you would like.
I say it like that because I could time it to the point where I could throw one in the air, and it would explode right before it hit the ground. Right
or
where
like throw it like right in front of you and like explode so it doesn't hurt you but kills the other guy.
Amazing. One time I was on a map and the dude was just in a second floor building, and I held the grenade,
throw a double grenade.
Throw it, exploded on the way up and killed him.
I would love planning it to kill one person where you use all your grenades. Like you throw one so that it forces him into a corner. Him, throw another one. And then you throwing like a third one so it bangs up the stairwell. And like
so good.
He just got checkmated.
You were doing it on purpose. We got to the point where we'd be in a room with someone where there's maybe a car, them, and someone else. And they have their gun out. They got an SMG. They got the AK. They got whatever. They're firing at us. They're full on firing at us. And because we had a rule where we wouldn't use guns, we would be sprinting, ducking, diving, weaving, sliding, and then counting bullets, waiting till reload, and then sprinting out and then lunging at them. And we had the perfect distance for the stab. And a stab's a one-hit kill. Yeah. So I could stab someone from like, they felt like 10 feet away, which is a little unfair, but that's the way the game was built, man. Yeah.
I wonder how that looked. Like the engine must have been built so like the way we moved, it probably took advantage of like the way lag was and like how it must be like drawing us not in the right spot, and we knew how to game that enough to take advantage of other people.
Felt the way to move. I'm just telling you, it was wild.
Or when you see somebody and you know they're not moving like that, so you stab into air, but then you hit them somehow, and you're like, I knew.
If you right where they were, you had to know where they were the second you hit the stab button. Or so even if they moved away, right, I think it would count.
Where they're going to be in that like split second ahead of time.
So we would be in a game where everyone just used guns nonstop, and we would use knives only, and go like 14-4 or
Yeah.
like 12 and
You kill
2.
at
Like you know
least
what I
like
mean? You
double or
kill.
triple the amount of people that killed
Yeah.
you.
Oh, dude, it's wild. We would lead the scoreboard sometimes. And what was real cool is when we had an agreement where we wouldn't be on the same team anymore.
Yeah.
So we were just secretly praying, and then we would be on separate teams, and
You'd
then
see
we
us both
would
like
not talk.
bobbing and weaving
Oh,
and
and we
ducking.
would,
We see each other
we
like
would
all the way
not
across the map.
not talk to each other to the point where we started using smoke grenades. Do you remember?
Yeah,
Just
we
to
started getting
mess with
really
each other. It's like the corniest weapon of all, but we would be like, "Oh, I know where he is,"
hear
and then
little
I'd throw some smoke at you and be like,
little
"Where am I?"
footsteps like moving around. You're like, oh, oh.
Someone would come out of the smoke and stab someone else, stab someone else, and go back into the smoke. That shit was wild, dude. That was probably the most fun I've had with a video game.
I wonder if like other people were just like, what the hell are these idiots doing?
What are these dickheads
And then
doing?
we'd run at them and they're
He's
like, get
got
away, get away.
12
Oh my
kills?
god.
Oh my god. So I talked about the one in the marketplace all the time.
What's the
The
which
one
one?
dude we were on the same
Oh,
team.
that's like has like vendor stalls of fruit and like
Yeah,
you can
yes,
duck
yes.
and like
And the one dude had a gun. He was just shooting wildly at everyone, and both of us were coming from different angles.
we're like raptors.
We were collapsing on him
Yeah.
at full speed with no weapons, just ready to stab this guy.
And it's like
I
you
don't
could
even know who
sense
got
when
the
he
kill.
was like pointing at someone else, and then like that, like I would get up and run, and then he'd like point the gun at me, and I'd like duck down, and then like you'd get up and run, and he'd constantly be going like back and forth, and he'd be like, as we got closer and closer, and he's like, oh my god, like you could feel him like backing up slowly and like not knowing what to do.
You could smell his fear.
Yes, yes.
So good.
Video games.
Video games are so good.
I wish I could have more time so I could play them. That's my goal, to retire and play video games. And that sounds like a terrible goal sometimes because you're going to get bored eventually. But no, I won't.
It's an art form. I mean, honestly, there's different games with different styles, different techniques, different things, different cool things to offer. There's even funny games like the Stanley Parable and crap like that. Or Portal is one of the better games I've ever played.
A different way
Portal
to
2.
think about the world. I think that helps you learn an aspect of something that will never be true. Like you can't literally go through a portal and come out somewhere else, but there's something in your
Sure.
brain that teaches you some new
There is a
element.
learning element there.
But it's something that I think might apply to the real world. It's just not in the way they do it. Warps your mind in a good way.
It does. Now, it's also addictive, et cetera, et cetera. I think you can do too much of it, but that's anything at this point in time.
Yeah, I think it'd probably be good for you to be addicted to a video game. Can we talk about that? The people that like played those games, Skyrim or EverQuest, like too much, and they couldn't.
Yeah.
Like they disconnected from the real world. Like they were so into it that they didn't
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah, they were like 3 years removed and like full bearded and fat, and you were like, "Are you okay?" And they were like, "What day is it?" And you're like, "Wednesday," and they're like, "No, what day of the year?"
My buddy had
Okay.
my roommate in college, and I felt so sorry for him. His roommate sat in a chair in front of his computer.
Wheel ruts.
Yeah, it's where the ruts of the chair from him moving back and forth had like worn away the carpet, and it stunk in there because I guess he didn't shower. And he had pizza and Coke cans. So the soda cans, he would just like place them on top of one another until they fell over, and then he wouldn't pick them up. So like the cans were just a waterfall off of the desk, and the pizza boxes were all stacked on the other side. And I guess he was so into playing the games that he didn't realize that he should be playing real life just a little bit. Just go outside and try. Like, I feel like those people already have some sort of disorder, and it's just manifesting in a game.
No, you're right. The video game didn't start that. Didn't help it.
Yeah, but I kind of like I understand that. Like, there's games that I wanna, like I wanted to play, even when like I was little. I'd get so into games that I want to just keep playing them, and I never shirked my responsibilities, like doing my schoolwork. Or like
Shirked. I like
shirked.
that. Good use of shirk. I'm glad we got shirk in here.
Or even like friends, if they wanted to go play hockey or do something else, like if they asked me to do that, I would do that over the video game. Because I think there's
That
something.
makes sense. No, you want to do real life stuff. Yeah.
But there's something there with the having other people around. Like my parents always used to say that, like I was alone playing video games and like you should go do something social. But video games became so social that they're actually the default method of talking to people, I think, now for some people.
Yeah, that is weird how that's happened. It's become the social aspect.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole nother episode where we talk about what's social and what's not anymore. It's like
What's real, what's fake.
meeting people in real life. Yeah. Well, it's like what social media platform is real and what isn't fake. We have a special guest on that a week ago. Anyway, we'll get there.
Is that going to happen? I don't know, anytime soon? Did you get a response?
I actually contacted an individual. They didn't get back to me. So interesting.
Oh, no. They broke up with us.
We're broke up. Anyway, folks, play video games. I think they're awesome. Real quick, can you give me your top like 3 or 4 or 5 video games?
Let me see.
Break it down however you want.
I'll just do it by the amount of time I played.
You can do. Okay, go ahead.
Call of Duty 4. I played that a shit ton. These are different phases of my life too. Bioshock and
Nice.
EverQuest.
Put that much time in it? Ah. Yeah. That's why you were so mad that I made the EverQuest joke. Yeah. I really meant Morrowind. Excuse me. But...
Yeah, Skyrim, and then probably like Star Wars Galaxies. Have you ever played that one?
No, I've never played any of the Star Wars, but I think I might get into the new one. It's releasing in like a few months. Star Wars. It's like essentially Last Jedi, but it's not called that. It's called like I forget, but it looked really cool. I might get into it this time.
That and Minecraft. Throw Minecraft out there.
Nice. My kid wants it desperately.
Nice.
I keep telling him he has to get 2 smiley faces 3 days in a row or something. Something ridiculous that he'll never get, but he just got 1 in a row today.
I like.
He's
excited. He said, like, yeah. Daddy, if I get 1 more. Daddy, if I get 1 more.
Yeah, he's starting that, and I'm like, shit. And it's not the cost. I keep being like, it's really expensive, kid. I don't know if I can get it. It's not the cost. It's just, I'm afraid he'll like it so much that he'll
disconnect from the real world.
No, you know what I mean?
I can't wait until my kids want something that I secretly want too. So like, if my kids want to play like Minecraft, I'm like, come on, get that. You better get that. Like, I'll turn on them. And I also wonder, like, if you. So like
you start to like it less. I play video games with my kid all the time, and sometimes there's games that are a little too advanced or scary for him, so I have to play it. I'm getting bored.
Yeah.
No, I'm getting bored. I'm like, Jesus Christ, kid. Jesus. He's like, do that again. I'm like, okay, I just did it 3 times. I'm like, I don't want him to play because like I'm bored to watch him play, but I don't want to do it a 3rd time or whatever. I'm like,
what if you had 2 systems set up, like you're both playing at the same time?
He suggests that more than anyone. He's like, Dada, we need 2 computers so we can both play. 2, what does he call it? He doesn't call it 2-player. He has a stupidest term for it. Play both same time mode or something. And I'm like, 2-player? And he's like, yeah.
Same time
but he
mode.
says it every time. Same time mode or something. And I'm like, you could just call it 2-player, dude.
I can't wait. I'm so excited for when it gets there.
Fun, but wait. But you play certain games so much that you start to hate them and they're boring again. You're like, God damn it, this is my punishment. Now I hate this game.
Well, that's the thing that people said. Like, if you play video games and enjoy them, like you think you'd want to make a video game, but then once you do, it's so repetitive that you were like, oh,
probably.
God.
Makes sense. My favorites, Half-Life 2 probably changed my life. Maybe it was Half-Life 1. Maybe both, dude. The physics in that were awesome. Gravity gun?
Things fall and move and
then
tumble.
No, gravity gun?
Yeah.
Did you know you could hit the tilde button and change the gravity just at will?
What do you mean, change the gravity?
You could hit the tilde button and there was a code to change the gravity.
Is this the one where like the birds would like fly to the sun or something? Like
or the ground. They'd be stuck to the ground if you had the gravity too high.
I remember this now, yeah.
And then you could shoot them. I was like, this is messed up.
They're just flying along and then gravity changes.
Yeah.
They're just like slamming on the ground.
You could change the speed at which someone died. So there was a code for when you killed a zombie or whatever, like they would die at regular speed, but they would die at like 1/90th speed. So they'd be moving really quick, and then once you shoot them, they'd be like,
Why is
and
it
they'd just
so
be
awesome?
floating around.
Slow
I
mo
don't
deaths
know.
are
I
so
don't know.
amazing.
Slow mo is so awesome. And then you would just lower the gravity, and they'd be like, and float off dead. And I'd be like, this is awesome. But regardless, that game taught me intuitiveness and like weird shit and like physics.
It's an element that you couldn't, like, if you're trying to imagine it, it's a lot to imagine
It is
happening. And like
it's
having
zombie
it play
invasion.
out really, like it's
To the test chamber, Gordon. The test chamber. And I'd be like, what? Excuse me? Scientist? Head crabs? Like that? That was one of my favorite games of all time. And then there's Call of Duties. There's the game Inside that you're gonna play this week
Yes.
is actually really cool. It's really cool. It's like it can't be in my top 5, but it's just fucking you're gonna dig it.
Okay, good.
All right, that's it.
So like Braid. So wait, there's one more. Braid. Do you ever play Braid?
No, it's brave.
You need to play Braid. It's like a side scroller Super Mario style, but you can change time, so you can rewind time, and then certain elements are independent of your rewinding of time. So you have to line things up in a certain time frame for it to work. And like it's funny because Super Mario, you fall in a pit and die, and you're like, damn it, now I gotta replay. In this game, it's like, oh, I just have to rewind. So you have a victory over your own death. You come back out of the pit, and then the music, like, it rewinds as you go backwards, and then it goes forward as you go forward.
It's called Braid.
Braid. And it has some sort of like astrophysics element to it. It's like people inventing the hydrogen bomb or something. It's like the overlay.
Interesting.
So that's your the game homework that you need to play.
Summed it up, folks. Oh, you know what? Doom 2016. I fucking
Berserker mode.
Not Berserker mode. Just I put that on the highest difficulty setting I could. I turned off all the cheats and I had no cursor. My guys didn't glow orange when they were ready to be whatever. That was the hardest game I've ever played. I sweat my pits off when I played that game, and I was so mad. I had actual vengeance in my heart, my eyes, and my body when I would finally complete an area. I was so mad. I would rip someone's face off. It got me so into it that I would.
Most angry at a game? That's like the Battletoads. Like, it's so impossible.
Yeah. I did that with Doom 2016, and I enjoyed myself more for doing it. I'm glad I did it.
I feel like you needed a challenge, and that's the way to challenge yourself, is through
I did.
Depression.
Yeah, and I won though. There's some where you can ramp it up so much you stop playing. I beat it. I beat the game. So
good job, Nick.
Thanks. Took me like 40 tries per demon room, which doesn't sound like a lot, but have you ever tried to play a same room 40 times? Try it.
No. But in Bioshock there was an achievement for not dying, and you could save. So every time I died, I would reload from the save so that I could get the achievement. I feel your pain.
Oh man.
Put a
how do you play your? Now you're talking about how I play my first-person shooters. F8? No. What is it? F8?
F6?
F12? F6?
Rewind?
F12?
Reload?
No, well, I would do quick save, quick load. And anytime I lost health in a room, I'd be like, let's do that again. I'm a perfectionist. I'm a perfectionist.
I am perfect, but I gotta do it a lot.
I am a perfect. Let's do it again. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. All right. Check our socials, gang. Listen to us. We talk turkey. We'll talk video games.
One more thing.
Oh no! What do you got?
You're talking about like perfection on reloads. I think that's the one thing
video games
taught me that
I'm obsessed.
Is brutal. Like when. So this is really like
F9 and F12. I think. Good.
Like when you're meeting like women and like dating them and like you say something wrong.
You can't F9, F12
you can't, yeah, you can't take back what you say. And like especially like living life and playing it as you're living it. There's certain things you say wrong, and you just have to accept it. And like sometimes it destroys friendships, and sometimes it makes friendships. And it's one of the hardest things I couldn't deal with when I was younger, because I always wanted to go back and make it like exactly perfect. And women don't understand this at all.
I hear what you're saying, but I think that's overstated. I think we think it's ruined, or we ruined it in one sentence,
The
or whatever.
perception of whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it's really ruined. I mean, reality's like, it was like you fucked up, but you can recover.
You could, yeah, if you could just keep it together.
I know, more work, etc., etc.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Interesting.
Restart.
So you wanted to quick save, quick load everything, huh?
Yeah, but could you have a perfect life really that way? It'd be fake. No.
It would be, but so would my record on Fear, some of the Dooms.
So you're telling me you've never really played a video game? You're cheating the whole time by quick saving, reloading.
Yeah. Wait, can you...
You're going to go back and beat that game properly without reloading.
No. Do you know why? It would fuck up after an hour and I'd start over and start screaming at everyone in my family.
That's like the original video games where like you would die.
You couldn't save, I know. Wait. Was there a point where you had a code you could put in that proved how far you were?
A Mega Man code?
Yeah, that's what it was. Mega Man, baby.
It was like a tic-tac-toe or like bingo card.
Yeah. Interesting. We've reverted all the way back.
Yeah, I just want to full circle it, and then we're good. All right. Thank you for listening. I hope you listened to all of it, every episode we've ever done, because we're on to 100 something, so that's a lot of listening. But somehow, some way, we live for that. Yeah.
Did the audience live through that too?
I hope.
Like, if someone listened to every episode, do they get as much credit as we do, or do we get more credit because we did the talking?
Well, they could talk, but we wouldn't hear them because microphones.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, they could be screaming at their TV. They could be sweating, dripping sweat, just screaming at their TVs, and we're like, "Oh, we do all the work."
Engine. That was the Unreal Engine.
Unreal 3.
God damn it! You guys need to research your shit. No, we don't.
No, we don't.
We don't feel like it.
Seriously. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
Include in the comments your favorite video game. We're not going to listen. We're not going to play. Dan's going to play Inside next week. Ooh, baby. Don't ruin it for him, okay? It's going to be it's goddamn. Did you play Titanfall 2?
No. At some point, I will have free time, but that's not in this decade.
Titanfall 2 is a good game.
For people who are younger than us, your 30s are filled with time that you cannot use for yourself.
No, it's literally a time swamp.
Yeah. You're swapping with everyone else to try to get some time, and they come back to you and say, Nick,
you can
I
have
did this
sex
for
easier,
X hours.
But there's a cost for that too.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
And you kind of lose motivation.
Everything has a cost. Don't do anything. The only thing you should do is donate to the Patreon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That has a real cost. That
click is boom, boom. Good
positive for us.
We're gonna we're thinking of releasing some secret episodes. It's not official yet, but if you donate to the Patreon, we'll let you know if we do.
Yeah. Thanks for listening and watching. We like
you, folks. We like you
a lot.